Welcome once again to your weekly update from the city of New Hope. Happy to be joined again by the mayor, Kathi Hemken, joining us to bring us up to date on what's new in town. Mayor, welcome. How are you today?
I'm just fine. The weather is fabulous.
Yes,
So
we are loving it here. We'll have a few things related to weather and how they're going so well in the city. Let's dive right into it and talk about engineering first. They have a number of projects that are in the works, so let's give the list here. First is the Green Infrastructure Grant and the I&I Grant. Tell us about what these mean and how it benefits the city.
the city is always looking for grant money just to help keep everything a little less expensive. So we did apply for an I&I grant, which is inflow and infiltration, and we got $64,425 on that grant. So these are things that help us improve some of our infrastructure, and we really appreciate any time we can get a grant for something.
Let's hop over to 42nd Avenue and bring residents up to date on that project, which is pending here. What is the latest development? What discussions have been going on?
Well, 42nd Avenue between Boone and Winnetka is a mess, and it has been for a while. So that's a county road, and the county is now in discussions with us, the city, and the asphalt company. They're going to resurface that. They're also having to replace some water main breaks on the north side. So 42nd would be down to one lane each way. So if you can avoid 42nd, you can't use the bridge to get across to Plymouth anyway. So use another route, but that is going to get fixed. So they're going to mill and overlay that.
All right. Speaking of the bridge, a lot of work happening there. Give us the rundown of some of the things that they are completing and getting into progress on that bridge.
Well, first of all, they have massive piles of dirt and sand and whatever. So I understand that the gravel is down on the Plymouth side on their ramp, and they think they'll have the curbing in by the 4th of July. And on our side, they're just doing some grading, and that grading will mostly be done at night from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. And so progress is being made, but it's just going to be a long time. They're also talking about raising the pier in the middle, just to make the bridge a little higher, just so we don't have any problems with trucks going underneath that. So that'll be happening, and October will come soon enough.
That's right. A lot of work going on. A place maybe to avoid in the city. Sanitary sewer lining. What's the update on that progress happening throughout the city?
Well, we're finally done with the sewer lining in the city, but before we actually close it out, we've got to get a bill from the people that do the work, and then we will review the bill and review the work that's been done. And when that's done, we can finally close it out. So you probably aren't going to hear about that anymore because we're pretty much done with that project.
All right, good to hear. Final note under engineering infrastructure improvements, some work going on a few areas of town that has to do with the water. How's that going?
Well, Elm Creek Avenue, that's all done in that area, so won't see any more of that. But where they're having to replace water mains, 37th, Virginia, Yukon, Xylon, the neighbors should have all gotten a letter that says it's going to be have some work done on it, and there'll be some temporary water to some of them going there. When there's temporary water, that water is perfectly drinkable. It's just like our regular water. And of course, once they get the mains back up and running, they will check that water to make sure it's good.
Very good. All right, let's move to community development. Update you on a few things happening. First, we're going to give you a website here, newhopemn.gov. If you go to live, then recognition, there's an extra place on the website that talks about resident recognition. And that's where we want you to register for the RAVE Awards. Again, Mayor, remind us what this award program is.
Well, we do this every year just to let people know that we notice the work and the money that they put into improving the outside of their homes as well as the inside. And we call that the Rave Award. We're raving about what they're doing. They have until the 21st of July to either nominate themselves or nominate one of their neighbors or friends for this award. And then we'll have a group of people go out and inspect the work that we're raving about, and they'll give awards to the different categories. So they have until the 21st. So if you happen to be driving around and you see something that looks good, you can either go online and nominate them, or you go to City Hall and get a form to nominate them.
Great. And again, newhopemn.gov, and on the website under live and recognition, you'll find that information there. Let's head further into community development and some of the work they're doing with area businesses. We have a couple here to talk about. First is R&R Cultivation. First of all, what is that business and what's some of the work going on?
Well, it's an indoor mushroom factory. Who knew?
Okay.
So apparently we've been doing this for a while. So that's pretty much enclosed inside the building, but outside the building, there was a lot of external storage being done, and that has to be screened. And so we've talked to them and they know what they're supposed to do. That outside storage has been moved, and then they're going to put in a chain link fence and cover that up. So that's what they're supposed to be doing, and they will.
All right, a few other businesses related to outdoor storage. One is over on International Parkway, storage of some granite countertops. What is happening there?
Oh, that's been sitting out there for a long time. They're also been told that they have to move that. They can't have that outside without it being fenced. Well, they asked for a permit for a variance, and we won't grant that until they do some of the stuff that they have to do. And one of them is to get a fence put up. And then they'll order some kind of fencing or some kind of covering that goes in a chain link fence. But it must be a screen from the public.
Okay, and a third business doing some work on the outside of their business is Alex Audio, Video, and Computer Service. This is located just off Rhode Island. What work are they doing outside?
Well, we've asked them to cover up their dumpster. Some of these things I think the businesses either don't know about, or they, something happens and they just didn't get it fixed. So they are doing this, by the way, Alex Audio and Video. So one of the things I want to remind people is the city inspectors don't always just drive around looking for stuff.
Mhm.
So if you see things that look like they should be concealed from the street, you need to call the Community Development Department and tell them. You can do it anonymously. We won't tell anybody that you told on them, but we really do want the city to look nice, and that means to get some of that stuff screened in behind fences or something.
Let's move ahead to scattered site housing, update you on a few properties around the city. The first is the corner of 42nd and Boone. More activity happening there. What step are we on now?
Well, they poured the foundation and it looked like it was sitting there doing nothing. And so I asked and they said, Kathy, that needs to cure. Okay, I guess it does. So now that that's all cured, they put the waterproofing around there. So you should start seeing some construction actually going up in the next couple of weeks. So look for that. It should start to be a lot of pounding going on. And we'll have a house there, I would bet, by the end of July.
Very nice. Next property is 4965 Winnetka. We've been talking about this property, and again, things happening here, and also some city departments going to take advantage of that property as well, it sounds like.
So that one, we've turned off the water and the electricity and the gas to that property. And now they're looking at where they're going to, that's going to be a lot split, by the way. So they're looking at where can they put the mains, the water mains going in, and how do they run the wires and all that other stuff for the two lots. So that part is going on. We do own the property at this point. Mm-hmm. The other thing that's going to happen is the police department and their SWAT team is going to go in there and do some training on the 12th of July. So you'll see probably SWAT vehicles there or police cars there. It's not a problem. We're just doing some training there.
Here's a date to put on your calendar, July 19th, 3 p.m. If you're involved in a business or organization in the area, you might want to stop by for this big networking event. What's going on, Mayor?
Well, that's at Pocket Square, and that's where Mountain Mud used to be. And basically, this is just a networking group. Is what they call it their summer get-together. So that'll be at 3 o'clock at Pocket Square. And then on the 2nd of August at 8:30, the business networking group will meet at City Hall. So all of those events are free to come to, and bring business cards if you are coming, or be able to share whatever information you have about your business.
Very good. Go to the city's website, newhopemn.gov, to find out more about those activities. One other business note to pass along. Nautical Bowls. We've been talking about this business over the past couple shows. How is their progress coming along?
Well, they got their plumbing permit, so that's a really good start for them. They think they're going to be able to open in August. Nautical Bowls is right next to Lifetime Fitness, where the old GNC used to be. I did look at the menu. You can go online and look at that menu. Don't let the first couple lines scare you. It has some things that I didn't recognize, some names. But basically, they have a full menu, and there's a kids menu. Mm-hmm. So it should be a nice new restaurant coming into New Hope.
All right, keep your eyes open for that. All right, we move to the police department now, and this department is very, very busy as the summer goes on. They are out and about. Mayor, give us just a taste of some of the things the police department is doing this past month or week even.
Well, we are so focused on community engagement. we think it's important, when I say we, the police department and all of staff, think it's important to be out there with the community so that when there's a problem, you don't feel uncomfortable calling the police department. So what they've been doing, first they did a defensive driving class for city employees and some residents. And then they did a grilling with the Human Rights Department, and that took place at Civic Park last week. Basically, people came and just sat down and talked to the police department or the Human Rights Commission about things that they saw going on in the community, things they thought would be nice if there were some changes made. The West Metro SWAT team conducted a 2-day training up at Camp Ripley. They did another barbecue at Burgundy Apartments down the south end of town.
Right.
Lots of cops there, some of them on duty, some of them not, just talking to the residents and making sure they're comfortable with the police department. So Officer Callio did, working with North Memorial, he did a car seat clinic. And then some of our cops participated in badges and bobbers fishing with the community kids last week. And they also participated in the Special Olympics torch run that went through the city. Now, with all of that stuff in the community, last week, they had 402 police incidents that they responded to. This is a very busy department, and they are everywhere.
Hats off to them for all the work they're getting done. Here's another busy department as the summer rolls on. This is Public Works, and they have been working on a water main break. Where was that located?
Oh, that was on 40th in Nevada. So it doesn't matter whether it's hot or cold out, and it's still icky working on a water main break, whether it's hot or cold. So they got that fixed. And then they're fixing the potholes wherever they can find them or when people tell us about them. And then the infrastructure project, they did a valve replacement on 33rd and a hydrant replacement. So these guys are out doing all this stuff and just reminding people when they do a replacement, they check that water not only for pressure but for bacteria before they let that water into your house. New Hope has wonderful water. If you're buying your water, you probably could do better if you just took it out of your tap.
All right. Good advice from the mayor. Let's move ahead to Park and Rec. This department very busy as well. And we've got a picture here to share of this good looking crew that helps out the city on an annual basis. Tell us about this crew and how they helped again this year.
Well, Stantec is an engineering firm that we've been using for many, many years. So once a year, they get a bunch of their employees together. This year, there were 25 of them. And they come out and they do all those little projects, like scraping the weeds between the cracks in at the golf course, or pulling weeds, or just anything that we need to be done. So they worked all morning in the heat on all these projects. And then they cooked the lunch for the staff. So not their staff, our staff.
That is very nice.
Bless their hearts. We love Stantec and we'll keep using them, I believe.
Great partner to the city. All right, you mentioned the heat, and there was a hot morning of fun out at the entertainment center. Wendy's Wiggle, Jiggle, and Jam event happened. We've got a picture here of some of that fun, and the kids didn't seem to mind the heat.
The kids were wiggling and jiggling and jamming, even with the heat. I think the parents were sitting in the shade when they could. Right. But that was just a fun event, 10 o'clock in the morning, get all those little guys out there moving around. It's really good for them. It's one of those fun events to have.
All right. And maybe some of those youngsters wiggling around might be candidates for this next group, the dance group in the city. Tell us a little bit about their work here in the summertime.
Well, it's time to sign up for the fall dance program. And what they do is they let the kids from the spring dance program sign up first. And when I think they have a week or two to do the sign up, and then they open it to the public so that anybody else that wants to sign up, and there's usually spaces after that. Again, they can go into their In Motion under the dance portion and look up what it costs and where to sign up and where they would have their child, what classes they would be in.
Very good. And here's what, again, that In Motion looks like, this great magazine that has lots of information packed inside about what you can do in the city. Another item to update residents on is the fight against the emerald ash borer. Who is out there doing some work on a regular basis with this?
This is just an ongoing problem. We have so many ash trees in New Hope, and they can't all come down at once. So the forester goes out with his little can of spray paint, orange, and he puts big orange dots on the ones on on city-owned property. So that would be in the parks and on the boulevards. He's also available to talk to residents if they have a tree on private property. Pretty much what he's telling me is these trees can't be saved.
Mhm.
Some people are trying to do that, and that's just fine. But the ones that are obviously dead, they need to come down. And we can't take them down as a city if they're on private property, but the forester can help them with where to find somebody to take them down, what to expect, as far as the cost of that.
Very good. Well, if people like to use the trails in the city, in one part of the city, you've got a great partner that's helping out with some resurfacing. Where are we going to see some updated trails?
Well, Three Rivers Park District has a trail that goes from Boone through that beautiful park, ends up on Winnetka, and then they go over to Nevada. They're going to do some trail maintenance on that. And when they do that, of course, the trail will be closed, and there'll be a sign there that says they're closed. Shouldn't take more than a day to put down the new whatever blacktop I think they're putting down, and for that to cure. But know that that's what's happening. It's not permanently closed,
Right.
just closed for repairs.
Making it even better for people. A couple facility updates and Park and Rec to pass along. First, the golf course, busy as always here. And again, your regular reminder, call if you want a tee time. Don't just show up because you might not be able to get on. It's so busy.
We had a graduation party on Saturday. We're having the Armstrong Trap Team banquet tonight, and there's a YMCA Kids Clinic this week. So there's leagues pretty much in the mornings and some in the late afternoons, but there's a lot of tee times that are open. Call or go online and make your tee time that way. And of course, on weekends, there's usually tee times available too. The course is just beautiful.
Yeah, fantastic. Get out there and have some fun. Let's go over to the ice arena. And I did not know this, but this apparently must be tryout time of the year for the ice skaters, because we've got lots of teams using the facility for that purpose.
Well, they tell me it's just about as busy in the summer as it is in the winter. And the guys who are scheduling all this, I don't know how they manage that. But right now they're having the High Performance District 3 boys and girls under 14 tryouts. So they try out for these high performance teams. And that's happening. And there's a bunch of men's teams that are in there. They're also doing clinics, things like, who would know, shooting school. Apparently they have a school to teach kids how to shoot the puck. But they're really good. The South Rink is open. It's gorgeous. It's been freshly painted. And they've been ready to go for a week or two now.
All right. And from the cold inside to the hot outside over at the aquatic park, busy as ever there, I take it, Mayor.
Oh, it's crazy. So they're doing this hot time twice a month. They have water walkers that are walking the other way around the track. And of course, the lap swimmers can go in the morning. And then there's the swimming lessons. So that all happens before the pool even opens. Well, once in a while, the weather really helps us. So this hot weather has been very beneficial to us. But we had some caulking that was coming loose in the shallow pool, and they knew they had to drain that and fix that. So they planned to do that Sunday. Guess what? Sunday was cold and windy. Perfect for us. They got that fixed. They opened it back on Monday. They're back in business. So the weather has been really cooperating.
Good to see. All right. And we have a note here about a few things happening in the media. One is through us here at CCX Media. We had the pleasure to work with Shelby at West Metro Fire to pass along some safety tips about garage safety.
So apparently, West Metro Fire Rescue District did something with CCX to talk about garage fire hazards and what causes garage fires. Garage fires, by the way, are the biggest thing the fire department does in the city, because people do things like grill in their garage. So if you haven't seen that, there's a link on CCX, so you can go in and look at that short little link and see what they're saying about garage fire hazards.
Yep, and it was fun to shoot it as well. You're seeing a little bit of the video here, but talking about just clutter in your garage or oily rags, gassy rags, gas cans, all of those type of things to help people know maybe where are the best places to put those. Also, some information in the Sun Post recently about the Art-Filled Memorial Complex. Again, we talked about that last week, but a nice extra note about that.
Yeah. Art Field was a really dedicated employee of the city for years and years, and he was a lion, always doing something. we wanted to dedicate our softball fields to him. So we did that a week or so ago. Really very nice. And if you haven't read the article in the Sun Post, you can go online and get that and read that. But just a nice tribute to a very valued employee.
Stay with us here. We're going to have some dates coming up of events happening in the city, and one that you'll see listed, but we wanted to put a little extra note on it. Here is on July 12th at Lions Park. There's a community conversation going on. Again, Mayor, tell us what that is and why people should attend.
There's a couple things what we do. With this, they're going to have hot dogs and chips and soda, and it's free. And it's from 5:30 to 6:30 at Lions Park. So just come on down, have a hot dog. If you feel like talking to the police officers, that's wonderful. If you don't and you just want to see them, that's fine too. Anything we can do that we can get community together with our police officers is a big bonus. So July 12th, 5:30 to 6:30, hot dogs and chips and soda, come on down.
All right, and there'll be another note about that in just a second. Final note to pass along with the mayor is talk about the budget. And Mayor, I think this maybe is the first time we've mentioned the 2024 budget, but the city staff has been working busily behind the scenes because a lot needs to be done even in June.
It does. So we have to set our budget and we start very early. And how we start is we go to the department heads and say, what do you need? What do you have to have? What would you like to have? And then we go over that and say, well, I know you'd like to have that, but we don't have the money for that. So they're doing their budgets now, and then that'll all go back. And our ABDO is the accounting firm that we use. They'll take all those budgets, they'll put them all together, come up with a number, and we'll know what the levy then is going to be. If that seems too high, we go back to the departments and say, there's some stuff you have to cut. But typically the budget we get from them, they've cut everything they can. So we keep our levy fairly low, considering, and we're really proud of them. But it takes months to do this.
All right, so we'll keep you up to date as that progress moves along. And we want to mention again the In Motion, this neat little magazine packed full of information about fun to do in the city throughout the summer. Stick with us. We'll have the events coming up in the next couple of weeks that you might want to get involved in. Mayor, thanks once again for all the information today. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Dave. Bye-bye.
Learn more about the connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.